PR Connections Radio presents.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media. My name is Guy Dawson, and I am the host of the PR Connections show. And this is a platform that we have developed to showcase leaders in our community, people who are great at what they do, love what they do. And I have a woman on the show today who certainly fits that category. Her name is Maria Perez. She is a cause marketing consultant and so much more. Welcome to the show, Maria.
Well, thank you for having me today.
And Maria and I met because she is a member of the Cause Marketing Chamber of Commerce, which is an organization that I'm a part of. And I guess she probably joined us about 6 months ago, huh, Maria?
Yeah, about that time, yeah. It's a wonderful
Tell us about your ties to the cause community.
Yeah, so I am what I consider a cause marketing practitioner. And so I work both with corporations and nonprofits alike, sort of identify their assets and to help them with their messaging, their outreach, their sales. And I know people don't like to hear that, but when you have a program or an initiative, you can monetize that, and that ultimately helps the nonprofit's mission. And so I work with both on the brand side or in the company side and the nonprofit to see what type of parity or alignment or partnerships we can ideate and put together.
Why did you choose the cause marketing path? It's a niche that not everyone goes into.
Well, I was very, very fortunate in graduate school way back when to work on 17 co-productions of Sesame Street. And so I was an education school graduate, so I was learning about education, but we had to fund this important initiative. And so I actually got to learn, the intricacies of the cause and what you had to say about it in order to get funding. And so it just parlayed itself into a cause marketing practice.
And for those out there, I guess I'm being kind of presumptuous in assuming that people know what cause marketing is all about, or that they know what it is. I know we're a part of this community. Could you give the audience a definition of what cause marketing is?
So, cause marketing can be a lot of things. But essentially, it's when there is a parity or an affinity that benefits two parties. It's not just transactional. It's more than that. It allows a brand to be genuine and truthful about their core values and allows them to integrate that into their persona for the public. So, it has there are a lot of cogs and wheels. It can be a lot of different things, but at the end of the day, it's an alignment between core values, between brands and companies and a nonprofit. And it could take different shapes. It could be things like just a cause tie-in because there's a theme that, between the two organizations, or it can be something where the nonprofit is the beneficiary and the brand or company decides to champion that cause and support them in some way. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really interesting, Maria. We've had these conversations before because we've been working together on things. And when I first heard that phrase back in 2015, it resonated with me right off the bat. Being in PR and marketing, I had been working with nonprofits and for-profit businesses for years on these types of joint ventures, partnerships. But I didn't know that there was an actual name for it. Philanthropy, right? You always hear about philanthropy. What's the difference? And there's a good question. What's the difference between philanthropy and cause marketing?
Okay, so first, let me say that I don't like to just say cause marketing. Nowadays, I like to say cause and social issues marketing, because if somebody wants to, reduce their carbon footprint and be greener, that's a social issue, just like a cause has a mission. So I like to say cause and social issues marketing these days. And that you asked me one of my favorite questions of all time. So I teach the art of sponsorship to nonprofits and brands, people seeking sponsorship that aren't nonprofits alike. And I always have to have this conversation. I have to explain philanthropy is like patronage. So back in the day, if somebody liked an artist or a musician, they would be a patron of the arts and they would give them money just because, right? Or someone will donate money because they have a friend that died of a particular disease state, or a company wants to support a nonprofit and they give them money. And when that happens, you say, thank you. That's patronage. That's mission support, right? If you have a corporate partner, and there are cause marketing campaigns that include corporate partners, that's a transaction. You need 15,000 bottles of water for your run for cancer. Somebody gives you that and you say, thank you. And then there is sponsorship where you have an obligation to deliver on value and audience. And all of those things can be cause marketing, but they're different. So cause marketing and cause and social issue marketing sort of sits at the top. And then what ends up funding the initiative has a couple of different forms that it can take. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does make sense. And I mean, these distinctions, I think, Maria, a lot of times if people, when they're thinking about the whole nonprofit world and the blending of the for-profit and nonprofit worlds, they think maybe just about the feel-good aspect. That's something that you and I talk about a lot, is that generally a person, from my experience, having worked with a lot of people who've started nonprofits and are running nonprofits, they get it started because they feel really passionate about something or they want to help the world in some way. And I guess a lot of the people associate cause marketing with this feel good component, but I think you really expanded it in your explanation with the understanding that yes, there is a feel good component, of course, doing the right thing, contributing to your community. However, that this is a business strategy, and that's why so many corporations are successful with it.
And it's no longer enough to have the halo effect or do something for the earned media value, nor is it on the nonprofit side enough to just say, you should give me money because I do good work, because nobody can or will. So, I spend a lot of time trying to get my nonprofits to businessify themselves and not think that people should just give them money because they have a good mission. And that they have things that are of value, but they have to learn how to value them, right? And what bucket to put them in. And it's if you think about it, no nonprofit wants to hear the word, I'm a salesperson, but they are, because if they have money, they can further their mission, right? So yes, it is actionable activities that will help them serve the audiences they serve better, and and get their mission and messaging and outreach out there more effectively, essentially. Yeah. I mean, and you can look on the brand side. On the brand side, if you are a tire company and you have a green tire, but you are still polluting, people aren't going to buy your tires because you have to walk the walk and talk the talk. It's not enough to just say, here, have some money, green organization, and go clean up the earth, but we're going to keep polluting over here. It doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, it's definitely the world, the ability that the world has now to access so much information. I think through social media, through the internet, it makes people much more transparent. And you have to, like you said, you have to be about what you're about, truly, to represent what it is that you are.
You have to bake it into
representing yourself to be.
Yeah, you have to bake it into your DNA, whether you are the nonprofit or whether you are the brand. Either way.
And on the nonprofit,
it's exciting opportunity for both parties, though, right? If they get it right.
Absolutely. I mean, that's why we formed the Cause Marketing Chamber of Commerce, because we could see definitely there's a lot of synergy there. And I think that both sides are misunderstood on a lot of levels. I think something that I've discovered through years and years of working in this industry, or working with both sides of the fence, the for-profit and the nonprofit side, is that there's a lot of misunderstandings about the nonprofit community. And I would like for you to speak to this in a second, where you were talking about helping nonprofits to operate more from a business perspective. and that there is a lot of perception within the community that nonprofit organizations shouldn't make any money, shouldn't be profitable. And that has become a part of some of the thought process in the nonprofit community, is that, oh, people are going to judge me because I want to be profitable. So I would first like to ask you, could you speak to that side? And then I want to ask you something on the for-profit
just
side.
think about it. That's kind of crazy in my thinking, in my view, because if I am an organization that wants to grow and thrive and help people, if I can't keep the lights on, how am I supposed to do that? What am I, so the more you can create initiatives and programs and services and monetize those things, the more people you can help. So it doesn't really make sense. I think that there has been it's endemic in nonprofits, like any other business, that there are some bad apples. And I think a few bad apples have created this mindset that, nonprofits shouldn't earn a living and pay their bills. Well, they're people too, right? So yeah, no, I don't agree with that. And I think the old thinking always was, go to Charity Navigator and see how much money they spend on program and see how much money they spend on salary. Well, I don't really think that type of evaluation is valid any longer. I mean, if they're above board and doing good work and the bills are being paid and those they serve is growing year over year, good for them. That's how it should be.
Yes, I hear that all the time, Maria, about the research that people do into nonprofit organizations. And they talk about how top heavy the nonprofits are, how there's these huge salaries that people are being paid to run nonprofit organizations. And I have a personal perspective about that, is that if you look at the people who run, not to say that there aren't bad apples, as you had mentioned before, that yes, I'm sure there's greedy people in the nonprofit sector there. I mean, just like in any other sector. But when you look at the salaries of most of the people who run even the largest nonprofit organizations in this country and around the world, if you look at their salaries compared to the CEOs of the for-profit companies where there's just as much responsibility that they have, the work that they have to put in, I mean, it's not even close. The salaries that most of these nonprofit CEOs could command in the for-profit world, in my experience, and I would like for you to speak to that as well, again, about things being so top-heavy that people talk about, the misrepresentation of the actual facts, is I have found most of the CEOs that are running the big, even the largest nonprofit organizations in this country are being paid considerably less than they would make with their same skill set in the for-profit world.
Yeah, I think that's true. I haven't looked at the salary surveys recently, and I have actually probably worked with every major nonprofit in North America, and mostly in Washington, D.C. and New York with their headquarters. And, their salaries are commensurate with the market in which they live. They get a little bit more probably than the nonprofit folks in this town, for example, in D.C. But they do have an extraordinary amount of responsibility. When you consider that a chapter-driven organization like American Lung or American Heart has a chapter, in every state in this country, that's a lot of oversight. That's a lot to manage. So yeah, I do agree with you. Yeah. And I also think that people don't think about nonprofit. They think about the mom and pop nonprofit, but a lot of these major organizations are chapter driven national organizations, and they're huge.
Yeah. Yeah. A tremendous amount of oversight, as you had mentioned, and accountability, because you're managing things in multiple states. And I wanted to talk to you about, on the for-profit side, there are people out there, of course, who have lots of opinions about why for-profit businesses, large corporations, make contributions to nonprofits. I mean, we've already talked about it's being a business strategy, but could you go more into depth about the reasoning behind their part?
Yeah, when I teach, and I'm going to use the sponsorship model for a reason. So when I teach folks how to look for sponsorship or a brand to recommend a cause marketing program to them, you look across the titles in the company. You've got corporate social responsibility. You have philanthropy, or you may or may not, right? You have public relations. You have marketing. You have brand. You have communications. And, depending on the core values of the company and what they're trying to accomplish, they could go to any one of those departments and leverage dollars in order to support a nonprofit. So this is where the nonprofits leave money on the table, but the corporations have a lot of choices. I had a call with the head of philanthropy, I think, for Hyundai last week. And you would think that their philanthropy would be very far reaching, but actually the only philanthropy they do is hyper local, where they have buildings and they're headquartered to benefit the community, in the community, by the community, for the community where they serve. So, you just don't know. You have to talk to these folks, see what makes sense, where there's parity, affinity, what division could provide the funds, and to really take a deep dive to understand what they should be doing. It's not that straightforward.
What inspires you and drives you to continue to do this work?
I wanted to retire from sales. I started coaching about 1.5 years, 2 years ago. And then I realized, I took a class and I realized that why I do this and why I want to keep doing it is I really want to help these nonprofits take their mission passion and transform it into sales success so they can further their mission and serve more people. And so I'm back at it. I'm back at it doing that. Because if you think about it, that passion that they have, the reason that they are willing to take a smaller salary, and the reason why they're willing to work, till 4:00 in the morning and do marathons and telethons and events and, barely make a couple nickels, 5 nickels to rub together, they should be able to take that energy and put it into growing their nonprofit. And so that's what keeps me going.
Yeah, I agree with you, Maria. That's why you and I, when we first met and you joined the Cause Marketing Chamber of Commerce, I think we were so much in alignment, because anyone that takes this on, as the founder and executive director of the Cause Marketing Chamber of Commerce, the investment that you make in something like this, I mean, I'm speaking from my own experience, not just representing people in the cause marketing world. Anyone that's running a nonprofit, who founds it, who starts it, the investment in your grit, your money, your time, the average person really has no idea. I know you've started one of these, you've run nonprofits yourself as well.
I did.
I mean, that's part of my mission, Maria, is to get the nonprofit world recognized for the tremendous contributions that they make to communities and the way that they're helping a lot of people. And it's just so undervalued.
And, if they can identify the parity and affinity and ways to partner, and there are lots of different ways to partner, it's just a win-win, right? It's just a win-win. But unfortunately, there aren't a lot of people out there that do what I do that can guide these folks. And, sometimes they go down the how hole because they don't know how, or they don't remember how to. And they're doing great work, but they're just, they're completely. So let me go here. I did a survey asking nonprofit founders and executives, what were their biggest challenges? And by and large, they all said they wouldn't even know where to start on fundraising initiatives or things outside of just donations. Like, they don't know how to do sponsorship. They don't know. They don't know how to monetize their initiatives and programs and podcasts and all the stuff, all their assets. So that's another part of what keeps me going, is I love to see them succeed. I love to see that transformation where, oh, wow, if I sold 6 more of these widgets, I could help 200 more people. Okay. And then it sort of softens this idea that they're out there begging for pennies.
Right. And I think what happens with so many, and including us when we started the Chamber of Commerce, Maria, is that you need a roadmap.
Yeah.
You need someone to hold your hand. You really do, because you have this great idea. You've got a concept. You want to be of service, but most people, they start nonprofit organizations without a lot of direction on how to do it. And for me, I think that working with someone like you is an excellent opportunity for them to have someone that can at least help them write that roadmap to get started. Is that
Yeah.
part of what you do?
Well, we talk, I have an associate that works with me, and when we were trying to figure out how to explain what we do to nonprofits or brands or companies, we came up with this idea of done with you services or done for you. And by and large, the nonprofits and the brands want done with you because they want to make an investment, but then learn how to do it and then institutionalize it, right? But the roadblock comes when they finally understand what it is they have to sell or how to partner, and then they don't have any idea how to do outreach, who to call, how to figure out who to call, and who to sell it to. No clue. So because of that, I have just embarked on a new venture to try to support that path that you're talking about, that blueprint, that implementation path. So created a website called sponsorshipseekerslounge.com. And you can become a free member. And on that site, there's a for-profit area and a nonprofit area, because those initiatives are different depending whether you're nonprofit or for-profit. When I work with the nonprofits, they typically want to jump right in and tell everyone their origin story, which nobody cares. They really don't, unfortunately. But they do have that mission passion, and they can sell on mission. And so we sort of work to massage that to get them to understand how to sell their wonderful work. It is wonderful, but it shouldn't be, the ask should not be, give me money because I do good. No, give me money because then you have the associative value of aligning with my cause. And you can say you underwrote something, or you helped fly 200 sick kids that couldn't fly before for, specialized medical care, or your donation provided meals for children and families, whatever the outcome is of the support, it can become genuine and bragging rights, but genuine, right?
Yeah, so much of, I know what you do, Maria, and what we do at the Cause Marketing Chamber of Commerce as well. It's just about education. And it's, as you had mentioned before, big-hearted people start nonprofit organizations, many times not understanding that there's a bigger picture. And that's why really understanding the principles of what cause marketing is all about as a part of your strategy when you're building the organization, knowing that in advance, I feel could be very, very helpful for so many. Join the Chamber of Commerce and be a part of our community, and then partner up with Maria so that she can give you even more strategies that get you off to the right start. So you can really understand how to get your message out there.
If you're it doesn't matter what size business you are, but if I'm going to go buy a product or a service, and I know that business owner has done something really cool for my community, or is donating a percentage of the proceeds, or is buy one, give one to a family in need, and I have a choice to purchase from them or their competitor, and price is comparable, who do you think I'm going to buy from? I'm going to buy from the person that's doing good because it makes me feel good. So, that's one of the underpinnings of cause marketing is the associative value of aligning with a cause can take your brand where you cannot. You can't. So.
Yeah, just wonderful partnerships with the for-profit and nonprofit world. And one other thing before we kind of move to the end of this, Maria, is that we are in the we've got a podcast that we do over at KUNV 91.5 FM that we've been doing for about a year called the Business of Giving Podcast. And that is a platform that the Cause Marketing Chamber of Commerce developed so that we could do exactly what it is that we're doing on air here. We've got a streaming version of the show, but this show that we're developing on air, we are now going to a weekly platform. And I'm really looking forward to having Maria Perez, the ultimate cause marketing consultant, as a part of that show. Maria, what do you want the audience to understand as every week we're coming on the air and we're providing this education? Why do you think a show like The Business of Giving is important for people out there?
Oh, wow. It's important along all kinds of fronts. It's important for small business. It's important for where you live. It's important for humanity. And there's there, they say it takes a village. Well, it does. It does. It takes a village. And so how do you partner where it's just a win-win all around? And cause and social issues marketing is very, very powerful tool. At the end of the day, if you think about it, the business wins, the nonprofit wins, and the people that they serve, they're helping or whatever it is they do, there's a beneficiary. So I just don't see a downside to being involved in cause and social issues marketing. I don't care who you are. Yeah. So I'm super excited to be involved in that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if there's anybody out there that that has questions, please tune in, because I think we're going to be talking about a lot of salient issues and examples, right? It always helps to have examples. And you go, oh, well, I never thought of that as cause marketing, right? So we'll have a lot of that.
Yeah, this is something that's being practiced on a high level from so many places, Maria. Me personally, I became a part of the Lions Club, which is a civics oriented community organization, and I had the opportunity a couple of years ago. I mean, it was unique because it was Ronald McDonald House, so we had set up tables where we had this partnership between Lions, Smiths, and Ronald McDonald House. And what we were the workers, the volunteers through Lions were the workers. And what we were doing was we were trying to, for those of you that don't know what Ronald McDonald House does, it helps to house people who have children who are in the hospital in cities that are different than the city that they live in. So if your kid goes in the hospital, you're from, say, Georgia, goes in the hospital in LA, there's a Ronald McDonald House out there where you can actually go and stay for free. Food, room, board, everything is covered. Just phenomenal what Ronald McDonald House does. But my experience with that, Maria, was phenomenal because people came to Smith's to buy groceries. We requested that they just, hey, here's a list of things that Ronald McDonald House needs. Would you be willing to maybe pick up an item or two and drop it in our basket when you come back before you leave? We greatly appreciate it. Great opportunity for Smiths. Smiths sold more groceries that day. Ronald McDonald House, obviously, there were people that came back with full baskets that they wanted to donate to Ronald McDonald House. And for us as a civics organization, Lions, it was great exposure for us because people asked questions about what Lions was all about. And these are, again, things that are happening in the community every day that are so beneficial to people all the way around. But
that partnership, that whole partnership, that whole aggregate that you just talked about, I can't tell you how many people come to me and say, how do I do that? How do I make that happen? I have this idea in my head that I want to make it happen. I don't know who to call. I don't know what to ask. And so that's why, causemarketingconsultant.com, that's what we do. We talk to people, we coach them. They have these, especially nonprofits or the brands or the companies, they have these great ideas, but they don't know who to talk to. So the great thing about the Cause Marketing Chamber is people can go to the Cause Marketing Chamber and they can plug in to those opportunities because those are the people that are members. But if you don't necessarily have one of those in every town, but we have one. So
yeah, we are really fortunate, and we're also really fortunate to have a cause marketing consultant as a part of the Chamber of Commerce, Maria. We've got your website here for those of you who are interested in learning more about how Maria can help you in this field. Please reach out to her. And parting words, Maria, is there anything else that you would like our audience to know about cause marketing or about this industry that we're a part of?
Well, I would love for them to start tuning into our new show because we're going to have all kinds of discussions, and people will start to see where their business or service fits into that. So, encourage everyone to tune in. when that starts happening at the beginning of July. And, if you have any thoughts or ideas, join the Cause Marketing Chamber, and come chat with us about them, because this is where we live, and we need to support one another.
I agree with you, Maria. And yes, please tune into the Business of Giving podcast at KUNV 91.5 FM. You can go online and stream it via TuneIn. If you'd like to tune in, it actually will be broadcasting live, or not live, but the podcast will be on the air every Sunday from 7:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. at KUNV 91.5. We're really looking forward to our weekly format, all of the nonprofits that we're going to be bringing on the air. Of course, all the businesses out there that are doing good that we're going to be bringing on the air, personalities within the philanthropic and cause community. Yes, I'm just very excited, Maria, about that show. And I'm always a pleasure to work with you on things, because we have such synergy and our passion for really wanting to promote the success of businesses and nonprofits. All right. So thank you all for tuning into prconnectionsradio.com, and stay tuned for more broadcasts here at prconnectionsradio.com, the voice of new media. We got a lot of shows that are headed to the network. So just stay tuned for our streams. Have a wonderful day.